Today marks the first formal gathering of the football team as a collective unit this season, and it's a moment that sets the tone for what's to come. These sessions, known as Organized Team Activities or OTAs, happen over several days and are a crucial stepping stone before the real grind of training camp begins. They are voluntary by nature, and that's something that often gets misunderstood. People see big-name veterans missing these workouts and immediately jump to conclusions, but it's important to remember that the NFL Players Association has clearly drawn the line between what is mandatory and what isn't. This voluntary aspect is respected across the league, and it plays a big role in how teams manage their players' workload, especially after long punishing seasons. Despite the voluntary status, a large number of players usually show up. This is the first real chance for veterans, rookies, draft picks, undrafted free agents, and newly acquired players to come together under one roof and begin the process of building chemistry and familiarity. Beyond just physical reps, the OTAs are where players start to get to know their positional coaches and coordinators, figuring out how the staff runs practices, what their expectations are, and how to operate within the system. It's a foundational period, setting routines, culture, and the groundwork for what the team will look like on and off the field. More than anything else, these sessions are about starting to shape a team identity. That phrase might sound like some vague media-driven narrative, but inside the team, it's very real and tangible. The head coach doesn't come out during OTAs yelling about Super Bowl goals. That kind of talk is reserved for the official training camp kickoff. But already, even in these early, less intense meetings, players and coaches begin to understand the makeup of the group. Who leads vocally? Who listens more than they speak? Who commands respect simply by presence? These early interactions lay the foundation for trust and leadership structures that will matter when the season heats up. It's important to remember that inside the locker room, each season is seen as its own distinct journey. The idea of connecting seasons or carrying over momentum from year to year isn't embraced internally as much as outsiders might think. The head coach emphasizes hitting the reset button every year. That doesn't mean erasing everything. That came before, but it does mean approaching every new campaign with fresh eyes and new goals. It's a mindset designed to keep the team hungry, focused on the present challenges rather than dwelling on past successes or failures. Talking about identity and goals leads to the bigger picture of what this team aspires to achieve. While everyone expects to hear the Super Bowl mentioned because that's the official repeated aim year in and year out, the real emotional drivers for the players often run deeper and more personal. Within the team, the objective of winning the championship can take on different meanings. Maybe it's about honoring a former teammate, a legendary figure from the team's history, or dedicating the season to someone who has inspired the locker room. These stories don't typically surface in the media until deep into the postseason, but they provide powerful motivation and a sense of unity for the players involved. And yes, it's impossible to discuss the current state of this team without mentioning Aaron Rodgers. If he eventually arrives, the narrative inside the locker room will inevitably shift in interesting ways. Instead of being just about the team as a whole, the focus will largely center on him. That's natural when you bring in a player of his stature and history. But here's the thing. The other players, the 52 who will ultimately dress for the season opener, won't be caught up in the drama or hype surrounding Rodgers' arrival. They're not going to rally around winning. One for Rodgers because he's already won it all. The stakes and motivations for the rest of the squad remain rooted in the team's collective goals and their own personal drives. That contrast creates a unique dynamic that might feel a bit strange for fans and media following the team from outside. The atmosphere within the locker room can be vastly different from the storylines created in the press. When you peel back the layers, what really matters to these players is building something genuine together. The last thing they want is to feel like the team is clinging to an aging quarterback just to survive at the position. That's a scenario more common with struggling franchises who find themselves stuck on the edge, hoping a veteran can eke out a few more years. And it's not the kind of approach a proud, competitive team wants to embrace. There's no judgment of the player in question here. It's about what's best for the team's future and maintaining a high standard of competitiveness. Fans often get caught up in debates over politics or off-field opinions that players might have, but ultimately what matters on the field is how players perform and fit within the team's vision. The Steelers in this case are invested in the city, the organization, and the players they currently have. The hope is always to see growth and evolution without having to completely alter the guiding principles or North Star that the team follows. This brings us to an interesting and somewhat complex situation with the quarterback position. The team still has significant salary cap space, but remains without a clear established starter. This leads to natural questions about whether there's any regret internally over past decisions, specifically regarding the possibility of having committed to Justin Fields. There are a couple of angles to approach this from. First, it's important to be literal. There's been no clear sign of regret from the organization. The Steelers were genuinely interested in keeping Fields and even considered him their quarterback of the future in schematic planning. However, they were unwilling to exceed a certain price point, which is critical in managing team finances and roster construction. Fields himself has acknowledged why he chose the Jets. Because they made him their unequivocal number one quarterback and promised to build the offense around him. The Steelers, on the other hand, had a different plan. One focused on accumulating assets and maintaining flexibility while hoping to find the right franchise quarterback in the upcoming drafts. This approach means they are open to various possibilities, whether that's developing a young player like Will Howard or continuing with Mason Rudolph in the short term. The front office has clearly been preparing to be aggressive in the next draft to secure a quarterback from a class expected to be deeper and richer in talent. The unfolding of events caught the organization a bit off guard. They did not expect Fields to sign elsewhere so quickly. Once that happened, the team moved swiftly to bring Rudolph back into the fold, securing him to avoid being left without any viable options at quarterback. But even with all this activity, there has never been a sense that they regret not overpaying or locking in Fields as an unquestioned starter. The team liked him and was prepared to run with him, but was not ready to fully commit to him as the franchise quarterback in a way that would limit future flexibility. This mindset shows the careful balancing act the organization is trying to maintain between competitiveness, long-term planning, and financial prudence. It also highlights the complexity of managing a roster at the quarterback position in today's NFL, where the stakes are high and the margin for error is slim. With all this in mind, the excitement and unpredictability of the upcoming OTAs and training camp become even more meaningful. This is where stories begin, leaders emerge, and the next chapter of the team's journey starts to take shape. Fans should expect a blend of familiar faces and new energy, all striving toward that shared ultimate goal, while also carving out their own roles and narratives along the way. The season ahead promises to be a fascinating story of growth, adjustment, and determination, with every player and coach contributing to the identity and success of the team. As the team moves beyond the initial OTAs and edges closer to training camp, the real work begins. These early sessions are crucial for establishing routines, but they also expose the early chemistry, or lack thereof, among the players. The quarterbacks get their first meaningful reps with the offense, coaches observe how well the rookies are absorbing the playbook, and veterans start to show whether they still have the energy and focus needed to compete at the highest level. It is a period of evaluation and adjustment, both for the players and the staff. One of the underlying questions hanging over the team is how the quarterback situation will unfold. Without a clear-cut starter locked in, the competition for that spot is inevitably going to be one of the most closely watched storylines. The coaching staff has a responsibility not only to assess talent, but to maintain a culture where every player feels challenged and supported. That balance is delicate because confidence is a huge factor, especially at such a high-pressure position. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill is buzzing louder than ever as the Pittsburgh Steelers seemingly embrace what was once just a backup plan. After weeks of uncertainty surrounding the future of Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers have now confirmed that Mitch Trubisky, who was expected to be the main option, is not the only name in the mix. Enter Malik Huntley, a name that until recently hovered in the shadows but has now become a focal point for Pittsburgh's quarterback situation. Sources close to the team suggest that Huntley, previously considered a plan B, is rapidly turning into the real deal for the Steelers' upcoming season. With RODGERS' status hanging by a thread and no clear resolution in sight, the franchise appears to be hedging its bets by officially bringing Huntley into the fold. This shift signals a potential reshaping of the Steelers' strategy, moving away from chasing big-name veterans and instead investing in less heralded talent with something to prove. The announcement has caught many fans and analysts off guard, considering Huntley's relatively low profile compared to other quarterback options. Yet insiders reveal that the Steelers' coaching staff has been quietly impressed by his work ethic and adaptability in recent practices and preseason activities. It's almost as if the uncertainty surrounding RODGERS has pushed Pittsburgh to reevaluate its approach, opting for stability and internal growth over a high-risk gamble. Adding fuel to the fire, some speculate that the Steelers might be positioning Huntley as more than just a backup. The buzz suggests that if RODGERS decides not to return or the negotiations fail, Huntley could emerge as the starter, a development that would dramatically alter the team's trajectory. Fans who have been holding their breath for RODGERS' decision now face the intriguing possibility of rooting for a relative unknown to carry the franchise's legacy forward. While the Steelers haven't officially ruled out other options, the confirmation of Huntley sends a clear message. Plan B is no longer just a fallback, it's a legitimate pathway. Whether this move will pay off remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, the Steelers are ready to embrace the unexpected. The NFL offseason never fails to surprise, and his latest development only adds to the suspense. As the drama unfolds, all eyes will be on Huntley to see if he can seize this rare opportunity and silence the doubters. Could he be the dark horse who changes the Steelers' fortunes? The next few weeks will be crucial in determining whether this rumor becomes the new reality. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.